About time you want to do it? Well, you know what, I know he wants to be here.
On the roll call, Councilmember Aloya.
Here.
Councilmember Calandrillo.
Here.
Councilmember Erin Delaney.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Joseph Delaney.
Here.
Mayor Rigoloso.
Here.
Okay, we have 5 ayes, which means a quorum is present for this regular meeting of the Garfield City Council, which is being held today, which is Tuesday, March the 27th, 2018. This regular meeting is being held in accordance with provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act. Adequate notice has been provided by mail, facsimile, and email to the official city newspapers and to other interested parties, and by posting the meeting notice on the bulletin boards in City Hall. If everyone would please rise, we'd like to begin with the flag salute.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Clerk, please remain standing. We'd like to call for a moment of silent reflection in memory and in honor of former retired city water superintendent Michael Sofruzzo, who dedicated a generous portion of his life in service to the people of Garfield, and who left the sorrows of this world last Wednesday, March 21st, 2018. So if we could have a moment of silence in his honor. Thank you. Need a motion for the report. Okay, at this time, is there a motion to approve the reports of the cabinet as presented orally and in writing during the work session held earlier this evening? We have a motion by Councilmember Aloya,
Second.
seconded by Councilmember Erin Delaney. On the roll call, Councilmember Aloya.
Aye.
Councilmember Calandrillo.
Aye.
Councilmember Erin Delaney.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Joseph Delaney.
Aye.
Mayor Rigoloso. Okay, we have 5 ayes. Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, all the resolutions listed from number 105 to and including number 122 have 5 signatures on the, oh, you know what? Before we do that, actually, the very first resolution we just should point out, it reads as follows. Resolved by the City Council of the City of Garfield, Bergen County, New Jersey, that the April 10th, 2018 work session and regular meeting of the City Council is hereby canceled and rescheduled to be held Tuesday, April 3rd, 2018, with the work session commencing at 7 p.m. and the regular meeting commencing at 8 p.m. in City Hall. The resolution is signed by Council members Erin Delaney and Joseph Delaney. On the roll call, Councilmember Aloya.
Aye.
Councilmember Calandrillo.
Yes, I have a question. Why are we canceling the April 10th meeting?
I won't be here.
Okay.
I'll be in Florida visiting my
Because the
son.
April 3rd meeting doesn't work
And
for
I'll
me,
be
which
late.
I relayed to you, Drew.
I relayed that to them, and they signed this
All right, so I
resolution.
guess it doesn't matter, so I'm going to vote no. Obviously, if we're going to change meetings to accommodate certain council people and not all council people, I just think that's a bad practice.
Councilmember Erin Delaney.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Joseph Delaney.
Aye.
Mayor Rigoloso.
Aye.
Okay, we have 4 ayes and 1 nay. Okay, now resolutions number 106 to and including number 122 have signatures of the entire City Council on them, so if there's no objection, I will take one roll call vote on those resolutions. On the roll call, Councilmember Aloya.
Aye.
Councilmember Calandrillo.
Yes?
Councilmember Erin Delaney.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Joseph Delaney.
Aye.
Mayor Rigoloso.
Aye.
Okay, we have 5 ayes on those resolutions. Okay, we have a resolution which appoints Regional Risk Managers LLC, John Ziza, as Risk Management Consultant for the City of Garfield. The resolution is offered by Council Members Aloya, Calandrillo, and Rigoloso. On the roll call, Councilmember Aloya.
Aye.
Councilmember Calandrillo.
Aye.
Councilmember Erin Delaney.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Joseph Delaney.
Aye.
Mayor Rigoloso.
Aye.
Okay, we have 5 ayes. The resolution is adopted. Number 124 is held. Okay. We have a resolution which authorizes Councilmember Erin Delaney to be appointed as Deputy Mayor for the City of Garfield to perform a marriage ceremony of Edu Jerry and Jennifer Tipax, and the resolution is signed by the entire City Council. On the roll call, Councilmember Aloya.
Aye.
Councilmember Calandrillo.
Aye.
Councilmember Erin Delaney.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Joseph Delaney.
Yeah, I believe this will be the first marriages that you will be performing. I wish you a lot of luck. I'm sure you're going to do a great job, and congratulations to the couples getting married. I vote aye.
Mayor Rigoloso.
Aye.
Okay, we have 5 ayes. We have another resolution which authorizes Councilmember Erin Delaney to be appointed Deputy Mayor for the purpose of performing a marriage ceremony for Oscar Ortiz and Carla Rodriguez. The resolution is signed by Councilmembers Aloya, Erin Delaney, Rigoloso, and Joseph Delaney. On the roll call, Councilmember Aloya.
Aye.
Councilmember Calandrillo.
Aye.
Councilmember Erin Delaney.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Joseph Delaney.
Aye.
Mayor Rigoloso.
Aye.
Okay, we have 5 ayes. We have a resolution rescinding Resolution Number 17-401 titled Resolution Appointing Animal Control Officer for the City of Garfield, which reads as follows. Whereas Resolution Number 17-401 of the City of Garfield authorized the appropriate city officials to contract with New Jersey Animal Control and Rescue, LLC, to serve as the city's animal control officer, and whereas the mayor and council of the City of Garfield believe that it is in the best interest of the city to rescind Resolution Number 17-401 entitled Resolution Appointing Animal Control Officer for the City of Garfield, now therefore be it resolved, Resolution Number 17-401 entitled Resolution Appointing Animal Control Officer for the City of Garfield is hereby rescinded. The mayor and council of the City of Garfield authorize the appropriate city officials to issue New Jersey Animal Control and Rescue, LLC, 60-day notice of termination. The resolution is signed by Councilmembers Aloya, Erin Delaney, and Rigoloso. On the roll call, Councilmember Aloya.
Aye.
Councilmember Calandrillo.
Yes, what's the difference between this resolution and the one we voted on at the last meeting?
Last one just suspended it, the contract. This one moves to terminate it.
Okay, I vote aye.
Councilmember Erin Delaney.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Joseph Delaney.
Aye.
Mayor Rigoloso.
Aye.
Okay, we have 5 ayes. That concludes resolutions at this time. Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council.
Bills and claims.
Okay, resolved by the City Council of the City of Garfield that the following bills, number 2087 to 2088, covering Community Policing Trust Fund totaling $470, and the current fund reserve totaling $36,648.78, and the current fund totaling $5,399,622.68, and the water fund current totaling $98,001.27, and the general capital fund totaling $18,833.79, and the water capital fund totaling $52,825.00. Per attached computer list, be ordered paid, and the proper officers are hereby authorized to issue checks for same, provided that there are funds in the respective appropriations. Be it further resolved that the action of the mayor, city clerk, and city treasurer in issuing checks and payment on a ratification list, which included 17 items prior to the meeting, be ratified. Bills and claims resolution is signed by the entire city council. On the roll call, Councilmember Aloya.
Aye.
Councilmember Calandrillo.
Yes?
Councilmember Erin Delaney.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Joseph Delaney.
Aye.
Mayor Rigoloso.
Aye.
Okay, we have 5 ayes, bills and claims are approved. Ordinances, Mr. Mayor?
Sure.
Okay.
I'm gonna ask you to explain these things. I'm gonna ask you to explain these things.
Okay, the following entitled ordinance was introduced at a meeting held on February the 13th, 2018. It was duly published. Copies were posted on the bulletin boards in City Hall. Copies were made available to the general public, and having complied with the law, this ordinance was not read in full, and the City Council cannot proceed with the public hearing and final passage. An ordinance amending the code of the City of Garfield, Chapter 341, thereof entitled zoning, to change the designations of certain zone locations.
Tom, can you please explain this before we ask him?
Certainly. This ordinance is for the rezoning of 439 Harrison Avenue. It would be changed from a commercial zone to an R1 zone. The only question I have is, because we're considering the possibility of the dish tower there, I don't know that we should proceed with the change in the zoning. I think we should probably table this and check out what's allowed in terms of the possibility of installing the dish tower. We originally talked about changing the ordinance, changing the zone, so that it would go from commercial to R1, and we would sell that lot as an R1. The mayor and council are now considering the possibility of putting another tower there that would have dish communications, and we talked tonight about putting a police communications center on that pole. So I think that with the CA zone, it would be an allowable use, and this is just speculation. So
Can we table it, Tom?
at this time, my recommendation, Mr. Attorney, would you agree with that? To table it?
In other words, there was a subdivision there, right? And there was two
Correct.
lots created. And originally, I thought the concept was one lot for the tower and one lot we would sell off as a residential unit.
Right, but the council,
Now you're thinking about using the entire tract?
yeah, the
Then-
council,
Then you should table that.
Motion to table. Well, hold on, before you do that, we advertise for a public hearing. We should have the public hearing and then table.
Okay, all right.
So for
But
this,
just so the public understands, we thought we would sell the lot, but maybe it makes more sense to lease it, and the leasing alternative, the leasing option would generate considerable dollars to the city. It would have to be bid out, so it would go to the highest bidder. They'd have to draw to a certain spec, which the engineer will draw up. So it makes some sense to explore that option before we change the zone and put the property up for sale.
so for this
Thank you, Mayor.
ordinance and this ordinance only, would anybody like to come up and speak on it? I see no hands. So let's
Okay.
table it.
Well, okay, we have a motion by,
Second.
I'll second it. Do we have a second?
Yes.
well, you know what, the chair really shouldn't second
Chair's
it.
not allowed to second.
I'll second.
Well,
Okay.
Councilmember Calangelo said that first.
Jesus, just get it done.
Hey, well.
Come on.
Okay, on the roll call to lay this ordinance on the table, Councilmember Aloya.
Make sure that the Boswell Engineering realizes that the aesthetics of the property are essential as the income that the city will bear. I vote aye to table.
Councilmember Calangelo.
Yes.
Councilmember Arundellini.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Joseph Delaney.
Aye.
Mayor Rigoloso.
Aye.
Okay, we have 5 ayes. Ordinance is tabled. Okay, the following entitled ordinance was introduced at a meeting held on March 13th, 2018. It was duly published. Copies were posted on the bulletin boards in City Hall. Copies were made available to the general public, and having complied with the law, this ordinance was not read in full, and the City Council cannot proceed with the public hearing and final passage. City of Garfield, Bergen County, New Jersey, calendar year 2018, ordinance to exceed the municipal budget appropriation limits and to establish a cap bank, NJSA 48:4-45.14.
All right, Tom, please explain this.
Okay, this ordinance was introduced in connection with the budget. When we introduced the budget, I'm happy to report that the mayor and council are allowed to increase the budget by a certain percentage. It's beyond the 2% because it includes the health insurance. I'm happy to report that the mayor and council have not increased it the full amount allowed. They actually could have gone up another $284,536 in the budget, and they did not do that. So we kept our spending under control. So what this does is, it allows us to add this to our existing cap bank, and it'll bring our total to $995,875. So if we had an emergency, we would be able to tap into the cap bank to do that spending. So the purpose of this is to ratify the cap bank.
Thank you, Tom.
Need a public hearing.
For this ordinance and this ordinance only. I see no hands.
It's a hand, Richie, there's
Oh.
a hand.
Come on up, John. Can't even see anymore. Thanks.
John Eastham, 103 Gaston Avenue, Garfield, New Jersey. My understanding is the cap bank is not real money. It's the ability to raise taxes to the cap.
Correct.
Okay. So I know nothing's been set in stone, but there's been a lot of discussion about taxes being raised for the Board of Education. If the Board of Education needs 7-8% increase, does the cap bank cover that?
This is the municipal cap bank. The Board of Education has its own cap bank, okay? So this is the municipal cap bank. It has nothing to do with the Board of Education's cap bank.
Can I add a second part, please?
Sure.
The second part is, you talk about the surplus that the city has, which in reality is not really a surplus. It's there for discretionary spending for maintenance, repairs on buildings and properties all over the city. It's not like money in the bank. So with this increase that we're probably going to be looking at for the Board of Education, couldn't it come out of the surplus?
My recommendation to the mayor and council would be that it's up to the Board of Education to manage their house properly. We manage our house, we have money saved, we do have a surplus, there is money in the bank. And there's money in the bank because we watch how we spend, we're very careful, we're very conservative. Every expenditure comes across my desk. The Board of Education administration really could do the same thing, in my opinion.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak on this matter? I see no hands.
Okay, on second reading, final adoption, Councilmember Aloya.
Just for clarification purposes, and not that I question, John, anything that you're saying, we have nothing to do with the Board of Education. Our savings is, we have a surplus. You call it a savings account. It's real money. It's in the bank. We're not spending it because we always have something that comes up. We're not giving any money to the school board. The school board drafts their own budget. They manage their own funds. There's nothing that works in that sense. Can we share expenses? Can we do something with and in tune with the school board? Yes, but we have nothing to do with their money. So what they're going to raise 9 points, what was in the newspaper, that's their percentage, that's their money. They don't give it to us, we don't take it from them. That's just the way it works. So we really need to get off of bringing school board issues here at the municipal meeting because it confuses people with regard to whose money and whose budget. We have nothing to do with that savings account or our savings account. That's all I was saying, John, just for clarification purposes. I vote aye.
Councilmember Calangelo.
Yes, Tom, am I correct to say that after 3 years, whatever you have in your cap bank, let's say now we bank whatever percent, after 3 years, don't we lose that?
What happens is the third year goes away, and then the next year comes in.
Right, so after 3 years, you do lose
Yes.
whatever you don't use.
Correct.
Right. Fortunately, we've been in a position where we never had to, in the last so many years, 1 year, we came in at a decrease. We've been coming in near or about that 2% every year. So we've been, financially, we've been very solid. John, I can understand what you're saying, because basically it all comes out of the taxpayer's pocket. So if we could do our best, which I think we are doing our best. And I mentioned at our last meeting, I would hope that we could bring ours down to a flat and zero tax increase. But it is their situation, and it's year on year.
Free tax.
But the good news is there is a budget to be voted on by the public, and that's up to the voters. And should they defeat the budget, then it comes to the Garfield City Council. So I know that's not really in relation to this, but since he brought up the point, so on this cap bank, I vote aye.
Councilmember Aaron-Delaney.
John, I too see where you're coming from. 5.9% is quite concerning, especially since the state aid increased this year, and that was the Board of Education's excuse last year, is that it remained stagnant for quite some time. Hopefully we see that 5.9 go down. I believe I read in the article they're working on it. My concern with using some of our funding is, we don't want to jeopardize our funding stream down the road. We don't want to set a bad precedent. As Mr. Calangelo said, it does get voted on. I think it's an unfortunate situation. Again, we have tried sharing some expenses. We continuously try to work with them and get shut down. So again, it's unfortunate. But I do want to thank our finance team for a job well done, as always. Tom, our auditor, our CFO, thanks for the hard work. I vote aye.
Deputy Mayor Joseph Delaney.
I spoke with regards to the budget last meeting when we introduced it, and it was a great budget. I too would love to see a flat budget, but I have to be responsible. So I have to take into account the credit rating that we've been getting within the past few years. And there's a lot of things that go into a budget, and what's our credit rating now, Tom?
AA minus.
AA minus, that's amazing. So it's because of cap and stuff, the money that we're saving in surplus, that we're able to get that rating, so it's a no-brainer. I vote aye.
Mayor Rigoloso.
Aye.
Okay, we have 5 ayes, the ordinance is adopted. The following entitled ordinance was introduced at a meeting held on March the 13th, 2018. It was duly published. Copies were posted on the bulletin boards in City Hall. Copies were made available to the general public, and having complied with the law, this ordinance was not read in full, and the City Council can now proceed with the public hearing and final passage. An ordinance to amend Chapter 164-2 of the City Code of the City of Garfield entitled Violations and Penalties.
Explanation, Mayor?
Yeah, this is on the garbage, but go ahead.
Just a very quick explanation. What happens is, this is the trash ordinance where people get penalties for trash outside their homes, trash placed earlier. The ordinance makes the first offense a $150 fine, no court appearance required. A lot of citizens said, they would rather be able to just pay it. So the first time, no court appearance required. The second offense and anything after that, court appearance is required.
This ordinance and this ordinance only. I see no hands.
Okay, on second reading, final adoption, Councilmember Aloya.
On this ordinance, I'm voting aye because I think it's an important thing that we do keep realizing that our violations are the only thing that we have against people who don't love our city. Just one other thing, John, that I failed to mention, but I wanted to speak in order. Actually, the bill that you get your tax bill is 3 bills. You get the city bill, the school board bill, and the county bill, all on one tax bill. And of course, we get the blame for everything when the taxes go up, when we're trying to live within the 2% rule. And it's really a pretty good rule because at least you know what the future's going to be. So, thank you, Mayor, for letting me speak.
Councilmember Calangelo.
Yes.
Councilmember Erin Delaney.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Joseph Delaney.
Aye.
Mayor Rigoloso.
Aye.
Okay, we have 5 ayes, the ordinance is adopted. The following entitled ordinance was introduced at a meeting held on March 13th, 2018. It was duly published. A copy was posted on the bulletin boards of City Hall. Copies were made available to the general public, and having complied with the law, this ordinance was not read in full, and the City Council can now proceed with the public hearing and final passage. An ordinance to amend and revise ordinance number Chapter 150 of the City Code of the City of Garfield entitled Food Handlers Mobile.
This ordinance only. I see no hands.
Okay, on second reading, final adoption, on the roll call, Councilmember Aloya.
Aye.
Councilmember Calangelo.
Yes, Drew, this is the one to bring the number to 5?
Yes.
Am I correct?
Yes.
Bob says yes.
Okay, I vote aye.
Councilmember Erin Delaney.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Joseph Delaney.
Yeah, aye.
Mayor Rigoloso.
Aye.
Okay, we have 5 ayes, the ordinance is adopted. The following entitled ordinance was introduced at a meeting held on March 13th, 2018. It was duly published. Copies were posted on the bulletin boards in City Hall. Copies were made available to the general public, and having complied with the law, this ordinance was not read in full, and the City Council can now proceed with the public hearing and final passage. An ordinance to amend and revise ordinance number Chapter 151 of the City Code of the City of Garfield entitled Food Handling Establishments.
This ordinance only. I see no hands, Drew.
Okay, on second reading, final adoption, on the roll call, Councilmember Aloya.
Aye.
Councilmember Calendrillo.
Yes, I'm going to vote no on this ordinance. I spoke at the last reading. Basically, this allows food trucks to be parked on land in B1 zones. I think with all the energy we're talking about redevelopment and bringing the town and bringing it up, I think the encouragement should be to build on those empty lots. A food truck could be there and leave. But when you establish a business and you have a food business or whatever, there's taxes, there's hard costs that a food truck doesn't have. And to ask a business that has invested in property to compete with a food truck that's on a private piece of property, it's an uneven field. So I'm going to vote no on this, and I would hope that we would encourage those empty lots in business zones for people to build establishments, to build, that's the whole purpose of this, from what I'm hearing about this redevelopment. So I think we're kind of not being on the same point with two different items here, so I'm going to vote no.
Councilmember Erin Delaney.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Joseph Delaney.
Aye.
Mayor Rigoloso.
Aye.
Okay, we have 4 ayes, 1 nay. The ordinance is adopted. The following entitled ordinance was introduced at a meeting held on March 13th, 2018. It was duly published. Copies were posted on the bulletin boards at City Hall. Copies were made available to the general public, and having complied with the law, this ordinance was not read in full, and the City Council can now proceed with the public hearing and final passage. An ordinance to amend and revise Chapter 341-19 of the City Code of the City of Garfield entitled Permitted Uses in B1 Districts.
Tom, can you just explain this?
This is the stationary food trucks so that they're permitted in the zone.
Thank you.
Okay, on the roll call, Councilmember Aloya.
Aye.
Councilmember Calendrillo.
Yes, for the same reasons that I just spoke on, I'm going to vote no.
Councilmember Erin Delaney.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Joseph Delaney.
Aye.
Mayor Rigoloso.
Aye.
Okay, we have 4 ayes, 1 nay. The ordinance is adopted. And also, the following entitled ordinance was introduced at a meeting held on,
Is this what tables?
yeah, I know, but we have to have the public hearing. On March 13th, 2018, it was duly published. Copies were posted on the bulletin boards in City Hall. Copies were made available to the general public, and having complied with the law, this ordinance was not read in full, and the City Council can now proceed with the public hearing and final passage. An ordinance to amend and revise Chapter 310 of the City Code of the City of Garfield entitled Tow Trucks.
All right, this ordinance only. I see no hands.
Okay.
I motion to table.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion to lay the ordinance on the table by Councilmember Aloya, seconded by Councilmember Erin Delaney. On the motion, on the roll call, Councilmember Aloya.
Aye.
Councilmember Calendrillo.
Abstain.
Councilmember Erin Delaney.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Joseph Delaney.
Aye.
Mayor Rigoloso.
Aye.
Okay, we have 4 ayes, 1 abstention on the motion to lay the ordinance on the table. The motion passes, and that concludes our written items for voting at this time. Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council.
Awful lot of ordinance here, huh? We're going to open it up to citizens and taxpayers. Just remember, when you come up, you state your name. I'm going to give you about 4 minutes. So, 4 minutes. That's it. Anybody would like to come on up? Please come up. Is this mic working? Mic working?
It should be, yes.
My name's Anthony LaDuca. I live at 95 Malcolm Ave. I am the owner of 6466 Gaston Ave. This is a matter that I've had for about, I don't know, since I've owned this property with Andrew Fugali, all right, it's the bakery. I've spoken to Andrew several times about noise, trucks pulling in and out. I mean, this happens from 11 o'clock to about 4 in the morning. I have had 3 tenants leave because of the bakery. We've called the police, I don't know how many times. Myself, my tenants, the drivers back in at 10:30, 11 o'clock, and one after another, pulling it out. They slam the tailgate down. People have kids, they can't sleep. This is not, quality of life is like horrible, for these people. I'm on Malcolm Ave, I hear it. I've gone there myself, I've talked to his employees, I've talked to Andrew, nothing helps. He says he'll talk to them, and these are paid employees, and he says it's good for like 2 days, and then they go back to doing it. Radios, trucks idling in the winter, they don't turn them off because they're cold, they want to get in a warm truck. It's just a constant problem. I don't know what to do, that's why I'm here.
Do they have a loading zone ordinance for gullies? Do we know?
I don't know. I've not had a complaint before, so I'll check it out.
I mean, I've spoken to Andrew, and his answer is, there's nothing I can do. But, I'm losing, tenants, good tenants.
What's his address again?
I don't know his address, mine's 60.
But yours, next to yours.
I'm right next door, so I guess he'd be like 60 maybe, I don't know. I'm 64, 66, and this is just bad.
The worst thing is, it's in the middle of the night.
Right, they can't sleep. I mean, these people have kids, they go to school in the morning, they go to work. Gas nav in that section is not good to begin with. But then to have the bakery, and, Andrew's like, I don't care, he's just like, I don't care, that's the kind of answer he gives me. And, I had one of my tenants go down there and physically,
11 to 4.
go into the bakery, and I said, don't do that, just call the cops. And Andrew next day approached me, called me, he said, look, your tenant can't do this. I said, these people are getting annoyed, they just need to sleep, they work.
I'll look up his CO, everything. He's getting his number and his email, but I'll look everything else.
Mayor, if I may?
Sure.
I think in Garfield, we have a lot of spot zoning and a lot of businesses that are grandfathered in, but there's a responsibility for every business to get along with the neighborhood. And that won't be the first business on Gaston Avenue that we've had problems with. So, I think it's up to a business owner to talk to whoever's loading or whoever's doing the work, lower the radios,
Shut the trucks off.
look, be a good neighbor. Do your best to keep the peace and so people could have tenants and be able to pay their taxes.
Thank you.
Tom, we'll look into it, we'll have Tom talk to him, and we'll look into the loading and the
I
zoning.
mean, there's gotta be an ordinance, right? I mean, after a certain time, it's gotta end. I mean, it just can't go on all night long.
Have there been police reports?
Yeah, the one tenant's called the police 50 times. Cops don't even show up anymore, he tells me, because he knows, they know what it's about. I mean, they don't even come. I mean, it's, I don't even know, that's why I'm here. I know Andrew all my life, and I know he's got a business to run, but I also gotta keep tenants in the house. I mean, I gotta pay taxes, right? You guys are not gonna chop my taxes in half because I can only rent half of it for a family. I can't rent the other half because they can't sleep. And, I'm on Malcolm Ave, right behind the house, and I hear it from over there. So if I hear it, these people are 5 feet away. I mean, there's a fence literally 5 feet. Also, the other thing that I've told Andrew, and I've complained to the downstairs, is that, he keeps garbage. I mean, the place is a mess. I mean, I don't really care about that. I just want the noise to go away. People don't care about the mess. I mean, as long as they don't smell garbage, they're okay with it.
Tom, is it, you said from 11 PM to 4 in the morning?
4 in the morning. It doesn't, it's not where these people can sleep 5, 6 hours. It's not even that. I mean, I also have a videotape. I mean, I've gone there myself and talked to the workers. They just don't, they don't speak English, half of them. And the other half, they do, but it's just like, it's a business. I understand that, but these people gotta sleep. They have to have a quality of life. They gotta be able to sleep and get up in the morning, go to work. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
I'll be in touch, Anthony.
Is there anyone else who would like to come up? Ms. Raymond?
Anna Raymond, 93 Spring Street. First, I'd like to say thank you to the entire council for ending that nightmare with the ACO that was hired. There's going to be a lot more coming out about him, That there's another TV station that will be doing a story. It was a major mistake. We knew that from the beginning, but we learned the hard way, but at least we learned. We were having a meeting with our animal control group this week, and I got a call from Drew, who told me that there would be no notices sent out from City Hall any longer, and he was told to do this by the majority of the council. I then called the mayor, who had no clue what I was talking about. So I would like to know what this is all about. Can somebody answer me?
I'll let you answer this time.
Just say.
Okay, so, no, I understand that, but what happens is, we were told that a majority of the council would not allow the meeting. So, Mr. Pavlicka conveyed the message, and that was it. I will tell you that,
Just say it, Tom.
we discussed it with the city attorney, and we have to look at the whole way the organization is set up, and its affiliation with the city, et cetera.
All of a sudden, isn't this a little strange after 10 years? There was, after the last meeting, I did send emails to all of you, thanking you for ending his term. And Aaron, you sent me back some, I guess, these are text messages, or I don't know what.
Yeah, you did not send an email, you texted.
Okay. And I have printed them out so I can read them. I just want you to know, there's only 2 people on here that belong to our organization. And one, it's just how carefully was this guy vetted by the city council? Not very well, I think. I agree with that. And the other one, because of what we know, and there's more to come to the story. I really wish I could share it with you, but we can't. There was another one by another one of our members, not surprised. We all knew someone's hand was greased because of this person's history. The other 2 people, and this one we have nothing to do with. He's from Hoboken, absolutely not part of our group. And the other one is Lisa, who, we love Lisa. She's worked very well with us, but she's her own worst enemy. And I've told her 1,000 times, stay off Facebook. She does. Now, I listened to the last meeting, and Aaron, you also made a comment that you were accused of having a relationship with this man, which is totally ridiculous. I wish you would share with me.
I still have plenty more of the screenshots that I did not send you.
Would you send them to me?
Sure.
Because whoever made that comment, and not only for your benefit, but also for his. He's a married man, he has a wife, that's none of anybody's business. I will make sure that person is blocked from putting anything on guard. I know it wasn't one of our members, they wouldn't do that. Our group, look, we've worked very hard. Rich, don't look at me like that.
I'm just looking.
Look like you're gonna laugh. We've worked very hard for the last 10 years, and we continue to do that. Just this past week, we've spayed and neutered over 10 cats. And I want to tell you, if this group stops, you're gonna have 100 times more cats than you have now. And believe me when I tell you, some of the group go far and beyond. We just had an old cat we found who was injured. We took up a collection, we did not take, and we've raised our own funds over and over. And then there were times Mr. Riccatano would jump in and bail us out. You know that, Mr. Dutch. And we've spayed and neutered over 800 cats, 300 of which, or maybe 400, which the group Focus paid for. They worked with us. In the beginning, they helped us get started. They're a wonderful group. But we did this cat, and we had somebody come from Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, to pick up this cat. The cat's leg did not have to be amputated. We thought it was going to have to be. It didn't have to be. And the cat is now going to live up there on a farm with wild feral old cats. So we branch out to all of these places. It's not only just to do in the city. Now, I have to say, not everybody likes cats. I understand that. I've never owned a cat in my life. I'm a dog person, but I certainly would never help an animal. I'm not good at trapping. I trapped one cat in my life. He started scrambling, I let him loose. I just couldn't stand seeing him struggle. But we have excellent trappers. I just got a call, there's 8 kittens on Park Avenue. If we don't get them, we're gonna get them the month of April. If we don't get them, those 8 kittens will reproduce because it's mating season. Mating season's coming up, April and May. So we need to do that. I need to know though, where does our group stand with this council? We have never done anything but good for this city. And for us to get picked on now is totally unfair. This incident with this animal control, and I have to tell you, and I want to go on record, this man has been trying to get into Garfield for the last 4 or 5 years. That's a fact. Through a mutual friend of all of ours, called me many times to meet with him, and I wouldn't, because we worked well with Lisa. We did not have a problem with Lisa. I understand there's complaints about her. I would like to see those complaints. I think the whole council should see the complaints. I would really like to see them and see what the complaints are. But you make the decision where, or who's going to do this for the city. I want you to keep in mind the shelter that you've contracted with now. I understand you got to wait and see what this guy's going to do. Maybe he's going to sue, whatever he's going to do. It's a kill shelter. It is a kill shelter. And I know that for a fact. So I would ask that after this is all over, maybe you could form a committee from the council, involve a couple people in our group. It doesn't even have to be me. Some of them are very, very experienced with this stuff. We know what the shelter needs. Would you believe, we have people right in Garfield that are certified, and I'm not talking about the 2 cops either, because I've already had conversations with them, but we have people in Garfield that are certified animal control officers. So we don't need to go to any other town or any other county. My opinion, when he was hired, I would think somebody's got 7 towns, and big towns. They're not little towns, they're big towns. There's no way this man was going to be able to do the job. He just wasn't a good fit for Garfield. And then when we started looking into things, and I gave his little packet, and in that packet, there is one of the towns checked the things he told them about what vet he worked for, what groups he worked with. Wasn't true. They never heard of him. So you made the right decision, and I thank you. I thank you on behalf of the animals. I thank you on behalf of our group. But we got to move forward from here. And I need to know where this group stands with this city council. We were able, Dr. Conti very graciously gave us Goodfellas. We had a wonderful pasta dinner. Didn't cost us a penny. So that was good. But I need to know where we go from here. We will not stop what we're doing. If you stop our funds, or you stop, now we have a fundraiser plan, which will be in May. At Applebee's, and we usually raise about $1,200. And $1,200, we're paying $60 right now a cat. We work with a few vets. And keep in mind, when we have these animals spayed and neutered, they also get a rabies shot, which helps control rabies in the town. We just don't, get them spayed and neutered and released. They get a rabies shot, they get dewormed, and their ear gets tipped so that we know they've been spayed. So that's just a little bit, of what we're doing, and I really would like to know from this council, what your plan is. I don't know what you're planning to look into, but I would like to know as soon as possible. And Aaron, please don't forget to send those to me, because I do want to contact that person. I want to make sure that person has no access. Our group would never stoop to that level. In fact, some of the stuff, it's coming from Hoboken, but some of the stuff they said about this Pete Franco too has been horrible. They called him a child molester, a pedophile, and that's ridiculous.
I think Pete Franco was one of the individuals that made an accusation about me, but that's...
He's not allowed to post on our site anymore.
That's great.
But as far as these other comments about being vetted, I'm sorry, he wasn't vetted very well. or he folges, because he's a schmoozer. Trust me when I tell you. And like I said, he's been trying to get into this town for at least the last 4 or 5 years. And if I were Lisa, I think I would really look into getting an attorney, because this is the 3rd town he took away from her. But of course, every town he gets in, he gets fired. So, I don't know what that is. Okay, and if you could get back to me, I would really appreciate that. And Mayor, I thank you for all your time. You've been very patient. I know I call you, and I know sometimes you're really busy with your school, but I thank you. And just keep in mind, we've also been knocked off Facebook. And, you know, I never came here and said anything. I just answered the person. One happens to be your relative, and I'm sure you don't have to really wonder who.
Relative?
So I answered him, and now we're no longer friends on Facebook anymore. In fact, I voted for him when I was up here, but we'll forget about that. I want to ask a question. This is the first time I'm hearing about these food trucks. Where are they going? Where's these food trucks going?
The stationary food truck doesn't have a spot right now. They have to,
Find one.
they have to find one. That's up to a business that wants to rent it out. So they're searching.
Oh,
If someone wants to be a stationary food truck,
oh, okay, so you don't really have them lined up?
no. And there's not a spot opened either.
Oh, okay. And I just want to say also, these garbage fines, you have to really think about this. In my son's office, I am not lying to you, I swear, at least 3 or 4 people a day come in and complain. And I know this was a big point of contention with the garbage out in the front, I remember. And you were absolutely right, something had to be done. But you know, 4 o'clock is a little ridiculous. I mean, I come home from work, I'll tell you what, I drag my garbage pail 70 feet down my driveway. I am not going out there at night and worried about the raccoons and stuff on the side of my house where it's dark. So I think you need to make the time a little, a little later. That, that you, I'm sorry, that you can bring it at 4 o'clock. 6 o'clock is too late. The old people, I have a girl.
It's now 4 o'clock.
It's 4 o'clock, it's been changed.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, I bring mine at 4:45. And so far, I haven't been bothered. But, all right, then that's good. That's taken care of.
We'll send somebody out.
And the other thing, a question. It was my opinion, my understanding, when the redevelopment was being discussed, that the transfer station was going. That was like a big point of contention, that transfer station, the smell. Now I understand that's off the table. Can anybody tell me why?
Please come.
So the transfer station people have come in and have met with us. They are actively looking for another place to relocate. We've had some discussions with them about them possibly being the redeveloper of their own property. So we're hopeful, trying to work it out.
What if they don't know? What if it takes years? Those poor people.
It will take years. The procedure to close a transfer station will absolutely take years. To close a transfer station or to relocate a transfer station, you have to have the approval of the Board of Freeholders in the county where the transfer station is, the approval of the Board of Freeholders where the transfer station will go. Then you have to submit it to the DEP. The DEP has to have hearings. They have to approve it. It is a process that will take years. So, but unless we start it, it's not going to happen. So right now we have a firm that is speaking to us and that actually, in one of their other sites, has worked with the municipality to relocate, to get out of their town, and to be their own redeveloper of their property. So that's my hope.
There's no way you could put a time limit on it?
Put up what?
A time limit? Like that they have to do it in 3 years?
Well, I suppose.
Because they could stall this and stall this and stall this until everybody's gone. And, I mean, the smell down there in the summer, you guys are going to be haunted by people.
We are haunted by it regularly. The transfer station never, ever should have been located there. All right? That's before our time, everybody who's up here. So it just never should have, it's unfathomable that it would be located there. It is.
Those trucks, how many times I thought those trucks were going to go through the store when they try and come around that corner. and they hit the light, they hit the sidewalk, they're ruining the sidewalks, they come into
Take down
the
the pole.
shops. And everything's dripping out and it stinks. So please, maybe you could look into, putting in something, a clause in there that they have to do within a certain amount of time. I would try and lock them in so that they can't drag their feet and, make us look bad. Thank you very much.
Is there anyone else who would like to come up and speak?
Good evening. Lori Calvert, 54 Belmont Avenue, Garfield. The last time I spoke before you guys, I had told you about my own personal nightmare with Mr. Santini, where my 2 cats got stolen and disappeared. And I said to you guys, and I quote myself, I said, if this guy's legit, let him produce those 2 stolen cats. As everybody has found out, there's nothing legit about that criminal. Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to come on up and speak?
0555, she's got cats, we have to go.
Carol Kojic, 23 Spencer Place. First, I want to thank you. No, I don't want to thank you. I like to say there's more garbage pails. I appreciate it. It should have been done a year ago, but I do appreciate the garbage pails that 2 or 3 have been put out. Mr. Dutch, you mentioned garbage. I have a picture of 50 Spencer Place, I think the apartment house. They have their garbage out since Sunday was a pickup. They have it out all day Monday, and it's disgusting. You can't work. I feel sorry for those people that live next door to here. There are no tops on the garbage can, and I had gotten the supervisor, and he said it's tops. But none of the garbage has it, and there is a house. So in the summertime, it stinks, and all the garbage comes down to my house.
Did you call?
I called. No, I didn't call.
Tom, can I see the picture, Tom? Is that 50 Spencer?
Yeah, that's 50, the apartment house, if anybody knows it. It's
Yeah,
on
I
the
know it.
corner. And I talked to the super, and he said that he's gonna try to put the garbage tops on, and he didn't. And the poor people that next door keep their house so good.
Was this after the garbage was picked up? Because all those pills look empty.
Yeah, this was after, but they've been out since Monday was the garbage peel pickup,
Right.
and they left it out until Tuesday. So you have to walk around it all the time. And it's a disaster, because they don't care. Second, I just want to ask you something. Redevelopment. If you're going to redevelop, what are you going to do about cleaning up the town? You could redevelop, it's like putting excuse the expression, putting dirty underwear on over something clean. What are you going to do about cleaning up the town itself? Second, Miss Hannah had at one time made fines for people that live in houses that more than people that live there. There's a couple of people on my block that have that. I don't see anybody coming around and checking their file. I can't tell you who.
You would have to call, it would be anonymous, and you give them the address, they'll take a look at it.
Okay, that I can do, that's no problem. You want to make money for the town, you should go around and check all the houses, the owners. I'm not talking about the people that rent. I am talking about the owners that don't take care of their homes. One of you is a councilman, used to be a councilman. I wouldn't put my dog in that house. I have a picture of the house, but I wouldn't put my dog in it. There's an empty house, 2 years it's been, no, 3 years it's been empty. I called, they can't give me any information. They tried to break in it 2 weeks ago. For the first time, I had to call the cops. And they tried to break into another house across the street that's being done because it had fire. Never had that on my block, never. So these are the questions I like to know. What are you going to do about these owners that don't take care of their houses? And you can't blame the people that rent because they have no responsibility and they don't care. But people keep on renting and renting in this town, and it's only getting worse and worse. And the dog park. I know it's coming, but I don't see it yet. And I have pictures of the Woodland. If anybody knows Woodland and Hasbrook Heights Park, they fixed it up so beautiful for the kids. So you want the kids to be happy, we need a park by us. Walmart, they still didn't clean up that property that I showed you the pictures the last time. They still didn't clean it up. So all of these things are happening. Again, redevelopment, you have to keep the town clean, you have to keep it nice. Besides redevelopment, if you're going to redevelop and do everything nice, you got to keep the town clean. I don't see the sweepers anymore, forget about the sweepers, but I don't see them on my block that much anymore. So I don't know what's going on, and you're taking away homes for what reason to redevelop, but you have to have a nice town. And these people, again, that are renting to other people, don't keep up their houses because they don't care. You care, and if you want to sell your house and the person next door, they're not going to buy it. And that's not fair to us that want to keep our property clean. And if some of you pass my house, like you said to me, you know my house is spotless. So, again, you have to get on these people and give them fines. Get out of the car, look around, and put a sticker on that thing. And the garbages too. I tell other people 100 times, put lids on the garbage. And you won't have all the trash around. It's common sense. That's it.
But
Thank
Carol,
you.
I'd just like to say something, and then I'll open it up for this. But Carol, like you say about the garbage and the renters, and these are absentee landlords, they're renting it out, the renters don't take ownership of these homes, and it becomes a big circle, it's a domino effect. And this is why certain parts of that area, you're talking about houses that are abandoned, this is the quality of life we're trying to change.
Right.
In that area. And then, and we have the property maintenance crew that does go around. You may not see them, but they do go around, and, Sixth Street, that area is just, that ward is just a small part of Garfield. There's 4 other wards, and they do go around, and they ticket homes that are putting out the garbage early, leaving the garbage out later, or homes that are distressed. They're all going around doing their job. You may not see it, but they are.
Well, I called about this house that was vacant 3.5 years. I've been calling them, and they have a maintenance person because the bank owns them, and they have maintenance, but they don't do their job. And these people have been getting in touch with me for over a year, off and on. I told them somebody was trying to break in, which is very frightening. To break in the house and everything. They can't give me a lot of information on what bank and what people own the house, but I said either tear it down, do something with it, because it's an eyesore, and it's filthy. And it's terrible, but somebody should...
Do you have the address of that abandoned home?
13 Spencer Place.
What can we do in that instance if it's a vacant house?
It's been vacant for 3 years. Who owns it?
Maybe the
The
bank.
bank owns it, but they didn't tell me who.
Okay.
Mayor, don't we have a system in place?
Yes, we
that
do.
will identify the property? So we already have
What
that.
happens is the foreclosure complaints come into the city. When they come into the city, they come to the clerk's office. From the clerk's office, they go to John Pinto. John Pinto maintains a list. The list is regularly updated. The list gives us the most current contact information we have. We also have a program, Property Pilot. Property Pilot allows us to try to trace them. And then what we do is we go after the bank or the servicing company or whoever it is, and then they issue a summons, then they got to bring them to court. So it's a time-consuming process, but it is going on. So why this house is like this for this long, I don't know. I will ask them
We'll look
tomorrow.
into it. Thank you, Carol.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to come up and speak? Mr. Dennis Strand.
Mike Denistran, 104 Palisade Ave, Garfield. Number one, Mr. Dutch, this is my third request on that telephone pole. Number 2862. It's on the corner of Hepworth.
I have it. You can save it. The day after the meeting, I immediately telephoned Mr. Garofalo. Mr. Garofalo again wrote to Public Service. Public Service, unfortunately, was held up with the storm and other issues and restoring power to people's homes. Mr. Garofalo assured me today that they are getting to it.
Okay, because there's 2 poles on that corner.
Yes, you gave me 2. You said one was repaired and one was
shines on
not.
the school, right, and down Hepworth Street.
The first meeting, you gave me 2. One was repaired and one was not. Is there
No,
a third one now?
Well, the 2 poles that are on Hepworth, one is...
You gave me the numbers of the
Right,
poles.
the one pole I want you to fix is 2862, right? That has a solar panel on it, that has the fire hydrant next to it, right? And it's a square light, and it shines on the school. I complained years ago because the flag needed a light on the school. If you fly the flag at night, So they told me those lights shine not only on the school, but down the street. That was my light for my flagpole for number 6 school, right? So it's still not working. It's been not working for over a year, right? So.
So is this one different than the other two?
No, the same number. I gave you,
All right.
I gave you one on.
I don't have it in front of me, so
Yeah.
I'm a little bit at a
I
loss.
gave you one on
Like I
Hudson,
said-
and I gave you one on Hepworth.
Mr. Dutch, do you have the numbers?
Right.
You have the numbers?
Now I have the number,
Okay, thank you.
2862.
It's a little number, 2862.
He has it.
It's a square, it's got a solar panel, the fire hydrant, the crossing guard stands
Yes,
over there.
we got it.
Okay? In the morning. And it brightens up the whole side of the school and down Hepworth Street. Okay? Now, question number 2. Again, about Columbus Park. I'm against the taking of Columbus Park for commercializing for any reason. To me, that belongs to the kids of the future, not to take any kind of park in Garfield. Here you go, Joe Delaney. I got your...
I'm answering.
At your campaign promise to build a park in the first ward.
Tom, do we have funds for a park in the first ward right now?
Hobart.
We've
And take care
activated
of
funds for
Hobart.
a park in the first ward.
Right.
I believe I told you
As a
that.
matter of fact, the day you guys had the big, what do you call that, the party going on Midland Ave for the 100th anniversary, there was a ball game going on because I was going to Fagali's getting a bag of rolls, celebrating my birthday for the barbecue. So there was a big game going on, and I don't know who the people were, but they had uniforms on, and I thought it was almost like a pro game playing over there. I would have stopped if I had more time. But that park is being used, whether you know it or not. So,
Oh, I know it. It's
Yeah.
not.
all right. Okay. Another thing too, as far as the garbage is concerned, I want to know if the police is still going to be writing the tickets, because normally you had the property management people writing tickets, and now you have the police writing tickets for the garbage, and you actually had 212 between the months of August and September. You had 212 violations in 2017, whereas you only had 3 from the year before, where the property managers were writing tickets. So I'm just curious if the police is still going to be writing tickets?
We've answered this before.
Okay.
Yeah, we've answered this before. The property maintenance people work mostly during the day. They do some at night. When they're on, they write the tickets.
Right.
On a weekend, when there's a problem, the police write the tickets.
Right, okay.
That's what happens. We don't have a property maintenance person on the weekend.
Yeah.
I've asked our property maintenance inspectors to see if there's someone else out there who might be interested in working part-time and doing it on a weekend, but as we sit here today, we do not have such a person, and it is the police responsibility to write it on the weekends.
They never actually did it before until now.
We never
With the big
enforced,
campaign with the
we
garbage.
never enforced the trash ordinances before, like we're doing it now. You're correct. You used the number that we had given here previously about the number of summonses that were issued in a couple-of-month period.
Right.
And a year before, there were almost none. So the enforcement has gotten significantly greater,
Right.
okay? And that's, the council has asked us to enforce the trash ordinances, and that's what's happening.
Okay. Like I said, I still would like to see a park in the first ward, and to me, Columbus Park, I wish we had that in the first ward. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Mr. Eason?
John Eason, 103 Gaston Avenue, Garfield. I just wanted to put on the record, I do get, Mr. Aloya, the difference between the Board of Ed and the municipality. I get it. Don't have to ever say it again. But be it right or wrong, I look at the city council to look out for the residents and the citizens of Garfield, okay? And as council, you should be looking at how the Board of Education affects the citizens. Whether it affects, Mr. Aloya, before you shake your head, how it affects the value of our properties, how it affects people moving in and out because the taxes are out of control. We have a Board of Education that can't do basic math. They can't do basic math. And we are getting raped by them. I hate to say it, but we're getting raped by them. And as a council, you should care about the citizens. And you could say, we can't do anything about it, or it's their fault, and we can't.
Mr. Easton, it's not the Board of Ed, it's the administration that comes up with the budget. The Board of Ed just votes for it, so it's not that
The Board of
about the
Ed
math.
votes for it, but they should be able to add and look to see if the budget makes sense. The board should check the numbers. All right? Well, that's all I'm saying. I just want to go on the record. I'm sorry if I sound frustrated. I know it's late. Everybody wants to go home. And I don't think, Ms. Delaney, that it's going to be 6%. I have a feeling that math is wrong. And then, again, it's always on top of the $50 a year that the municipality needs, but then if you're paying a tax bill of $10,000 and it's 7% or 8%, that's pretty basic math. It's $800 plus the $50. It's big, it's money. And it is going to affect, it's going to affect redevelopment in the city. It's going to affect every citizen. It's going to affect every tenant. Because where do you think the landlords are going to get the money from? It's going to go to the tenants. So I just want to implore you as a council to don't give up. Don't point at the Board of Ed and say we have no control over them. Because as you said, Mr. Dutch, if the budget gets voted down, it's going to come back to the council. So you are involved. You do have a say in this. And when it comes back to the council, and I hope the budget is voted down, and it comes back to the council, you find some way to be creative and give us a little confidence. Because last year, this whole thing happened again. It's every year, year after year after year. You say you have no control over it, but then somehow, the citizens pay for it, and it still comes back to the council to get fixed somehow. That's it for the record.
Thank you. Is it, Ms. Siaka?
Anna Siaka, 261 Gaston Avenue, Garfield. I can very well understand Mr. Easton's concerns and his frustration, but I think when we take a matter as serious as the Garfield Board of Education having to put together a budget, a $100 million budget for our school system, I think we're really simplifying that process when we come up here and just say they don't know what they're doing. We only got about $2 million more this year, and I'm sure Governor Murphy will do better going forward. But $2 million more when $750,000 of that is going right to the charter school didn't leave us with a lot of money more to do anything extra for the following year. We're really just at the very bare minimum, and I'm going to take another stand that education to me is extremely important. I don't care if there's a tax raise for purposes of education. I think people have to realize that our education for our kids is our future. And if we're educating kids and we want to provide a quality education in the city of Garfield, then we have to ask questions about what we are doing with the money and how that education is being provided. Education is not cheap. And I really feel that this Board of Education is making a very strong effort to make sure that the money is being spent well, but there really is not a lot to go around. So I think just random criticisms of what the board is doing and not taking into account the value of education and the tremendous price tag that goes with that, we're kind of really just oversimplifying by throwing those criticisms out. So I would ask the council just to consider that, and people in the public as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to come on up? I see no hands. I'm going to open it up to council comments.
Just for clarification purposes, Ms. Shaka, I absolutely agree with everything you just said, because it's not an issue for this room.
I understand.
It means so much that what you do with the school board. Now, I don't like my taxes going up. I don't like you spending $100 million, but that's my ignorance speaking.
I don't think this is the room, this is not the room for the school board discussion. John, just for clarification purposes, the law is clear. You make the decision what the school board budget is. If you vote the budget down, it comes to the city council for review. We can kick it, we can poke it, we can play with it. It then goes to the county, and they can either overthrow us and draft their own budget, or we get to accept some negotiation in between. That's it. And the percentage of the $100 million that the school board has, we get to look at the very smallest piece of it. All of the employee stuff, all of the statutory things, we don't get to touch. That's what frustrates me and I apologize to you if you think I said anything insulting to you directly, but this is not the school board. Take it to the school board. We got police problems, we got garbage problems, we got DPW. Those are our issues here. The kids' education is far greater than 4 seconds at the mic here telling us what we should do with the school board. Mike, even with the light, if there's a square light on the pole, I make you bet that the school board's light. That they put it up on because the PSE&G doesn't put up those square lights. I know because I bought one from PSE&G and had it put on my pole. That's something that you go to PSE&G and say, could I pay for a light to be on a municipal pole shining back on my property? You pay by the month for that. So it may very well be a school board light. So even the issue of the light isn't something that we have jurisdiction over. So it's not that I'm trying to say anything, but I get so frustrated, not because I think education is really super important. But as a taxpayer, I scratch my head. We can't do it for less. $100 million's a lot of money. You know, and I really think that maybe less is better, and it's going to go up 9 points. And the governor gave you $2.7 million, 700 going to the charter, $2 million going to the municipal, and then we're going 9 points on top of that. Anyhow, I'm going with John on that one now. Now I'm seeing his point of view. So, school board people, you got your own headaches. The dog park issue, I was looking at the dog park, I walked the dog park. The part that is contaminated is actually fenced off. So if we acquire the property from Vernado, must we then open up that fence? And can't we just seal that area off so that this is not for an answer, just as an observation, because I do go walking. Monroe Street, every Sunday, I drive down Monroe Street every Sunday. Carol, I hear your voice coming out of my wife's mouth saying, look at the garbage pails on Monroe Street. You still haven't done anything about them. Mayor, there are garbage pails lining Monroe Street on Sunday morning filled with garbage. A lot more people need tickets. Mike, on that issue, you're right. With Columbus Park, we asked to see the resolutions that the planning board discussed, why they think that park should be closed. I think that maybe the administration of who's ever running the program right now isn't pumping in the energy that they need to get the kids to come out and play. There also is, and now I'm going to criticize the school board, but history. I live next door to number 3 school. They closed number 3 school because they were out of kids. I think they were short-sighted. Now look at the fact we got trailers all over town, we should have kept number 3 school open. I also remember Red Simcoe showing movies on the side of number 3 school. Why don't we put Columbus Park and put up a wall there and show movies? Let the kids do it. We've got a new volleyball team at the Boys and Girls Club. Let them take it. We got the softball league. Let that make their home. There are so many other good social things that could be done with that park. I can't fathom what happened at the planning board meeting that the board decided selling it and putting in more apartments with more renters is the thing that's going to enhance the town. But I have to stay within the statutory requirements of my job and say I should have all the information, as with the dog situation. To have all the information is the only thing that we've got. But when we have the information that we have, and it's limited, you make a decision based on need, necessity. For some particular reason, Lisa just wasn't the right fit at that point in time. So the city was looking for a new fit. Well, guess what? We got two left shoes. So we'll move on past that. Okay, so we're going to move on past that. With regard to the GARF organization, if they're an independent organization, you should run as an independent organization, so the city has nothing to do with controlling you and controlling what you're doing and where you're doing it and how you're doing it. If the city feels that in their wisdom they choose to enhance and pay for something or do something that enhances the whole community by paying for spade and neutering and things like that, that may make sense. But maybe with the new person or whomever, and even with regard to the county, and I had this argument with some of my council colleagues, the county seems to be our default, for lack of a better term at the moment, just to go to them. If they're not good, please go yell at them. You know what I'm saying? I mean, if they need to be a better shelter, fix that, because we really don't have much more to go to. There may be other people out there, but this is a really passionate subject. And Mayor, I think you remember when we tried to deal with the pit bull situation. That was the only room I ever saw, the only night I ever saw this room full, when we thought that pit bulls were the wrong things. And that's probably one of was probably my worst vote. Because I voted to say, all right, I agree, let's not do it. You know what? Those pit bulls, some of them are weapons. They're not just pets. And you need to, I mean, you know, if I see a chihuahua coming at me, I may jump on the chair, but that's because I'm a coward. But he's not going to get me. The pit bull's going to get me. So, Columbus Park, I can't see, I could think of a million things we could do with Columbus Park. Put an amphitheater in there. Put a wall up for movies. Let the kids sit on the grass. Give it to the rec department. Give it to the Boys and Girls Club. Let them have programs that already exist and enhance that. Another apartment, I don't see us benefiting from that. I try to write down some points because I never want to forget. Everyone have a blessed Easter. I wanted not to forget that. Oh, the transfer station. Transfer station stinks because the employees of the transfer station don't clean it at the end of the day. Transfer station was there longer than I've been alive. Garofalo had it before. It never smelled that bad. When the corner nursery was on the corner of Main Street, I used to go buy flowers there. Right next to them is a transfer station. You never even knew that it was there because they filtered it, they cleaned it, and they washed it by the end of the day. When AIG bought that transfer station, they're the big insurance company. They put employees there that do their 9 to 5 and don't care. And that's the whole problem. So I don't think they're ever going to leave because they don't need us to develop their property. They don't need us to leave town. They want to leave town, leave town. They're not going to leave town because they got a good deal here. You know, but the thing is, it stinks. And it doesn't have to stink. They can clean it at the end of the day. The only reason it stinks is that they push the garbage to the back wall and then they start halfway and go home. So what's against the back wall, you can imagine. But you go to the corner nursery, when it was there, you walked in by Emil, you bought flowers, you bought everything. There was a transfer station next, 5 feet away. We smell that transfer station on Harrison Avenue. You never smelt that transfer station. They cleaned it at the end of the day. Thank you, Mayor, for your time. Happy Easter, everyone.
Councilman Calangelo.
Yes, I want to start off with GARF. As long as GARF is providing a service to the community, such as the feral cats, and capturing them and taking care of that, I will always support GARF. It's something that in other towns, you read about the problems. When GARF got involved, our problems declined. And I recognize that, and I know what they're all about. And I'm not going to become part of anybody's agenda but what's right for the town. John, I certainly understand your point, and I agree with you on a lot of issues. But I think that's going to be an argument for a different day if the budget comes to us, because, look, we have a budget of 103, 104 million every year. Now we have some new board members that have some ideas, but it's the administration that we butt heads with when we have to discuss these things. And this is not last year or the year before, it's every year. So something's got to change. You know what? We can't, the buildings are in bad shape from, I have conversations with Angel as a board member. these things have to be budgeted. You know, if we are giving $750,000 to charter school students, why isn't that number budgeted? And if there's charter school students, that means there's less students in our classrooms. So isn't that taken into consideration? So you bring up some good points, and again, that might be to further that discussion for a different day. As far as the Babe Ruth field, are we voting on that next meeting? Can anybody answer me that?
Well, there's no resolution.
Are we going to have, on the meeting that you created without me being able to be present, is that the meeting that we're going to be voting on?
Yeah.
All right, nobody knows. Nobody knows?
We usually get the resolutions in the email.
No one has the resolution.
I know no one has the resolution, but I'm asking the government here, when do we plan on voting on it? Because I had asked that we have the planner attend the meeting, because there's some questions I would like to have answers to. I'm not on the planning board. I wasn't aware of when the planning board, the planner gave the report. So if I have questions, I would at least appreciate the decency of having a presentation, to have residents in this presentation, and people be aware of what's going on. We're talking about giving away public parkland, something that I never in my wildest dreams ever thought I'd be talking about. But we're talking about taking property that has been designated as Green Acre site, that we have accepted money to put lights on, and guess what? If the Babe Ruth organization is not going to go forward, I could understand that. But there's a lot of good organizations. There's a lot of things that we could do with open space. I'll never forget the time when my dad told me a story. If everyone ever remembers the barracks in the city of Garfield, there was right by 20th Century Field, and at that time, he was in office, and he told me the story that there was developers wanting to put up two-family homes, okay? Fortunately, Mr. Migliaccio was on the council with my father. They signed that property over to Parkland. And now we are living, and our children have the experience on that land. It's used for soccer, it's used for football, it's used for cheering. That field has unlimited potential. But we never would experience that if we didn't have the open space. And my concern is this: we could always build apartments, we always have developers. Maybe we should get on Trenton to expedite the cleanup process on Monroe Street and Outwater Lane. On Monroe Street and River Drive. There's 6 acres of property, maybe not for residential, but for development. It's been going on. When I was on the board, and Louis was on the board, we went to Trenton. We tried to get it done. Senator Sarlo tried to help us. And so these are things we need to concentrate on, instead of turning open space into condominiums or whatever's going to go down there. I don't know what anybody's thinking up here except myself. So I'm hoping that we advertise the date. I'm hoping we bring the planner in. We give the people of Garfield a chance to voice their opinion, because this is something, in my opinion, it really counts. It really does count. And it's something that is important. Because guess what? I used to hear my father say it. He's quoting somebody, I think Roy Rogers would say, they don't make land anymore. And we're only 3.2 or 2.2 square miles. We're 32,000 people. We're going to have a census in 2020. That number may elevate beyond what we even expect. So I'm hoping that I'm given an opportunity to understand this as a council person, and I'm hoping that the public has an opportunity to voice an opinion. Mr. Dutch, I appreciate you answered my emails last meeting. However, what I had asked was not what was in the answer, so if you could pass this to Mr. Dutch at your convenience, please answer my emails. I had asked Mr. Boswell about this emergency resolution. The emergency resolution he told me he received this information after it was, basically, nobody's stepping up saying they're responsible for declaring it an emergency, which is, it is what it is. You know, it was number 203 Midland Avenue. We put a water line in for a conversion. I've asked for other properties that we've done this for, received no information. I've asked, I want answers. The bottom line is, if it's not an emergency, we should have gotten at least 3 quotes on this. It's not an awful lot of money, but it's taxpayer money. It's $12,300 it came out to. We paid the police to watch the traffic. We paid the county to open the road. We paid an emergency contractor to do the work. I feel the bill should have went to the resident or the builder. But there again, over $6,000, we should have gotten 3 quotes. We did not do that. So I don't know who's declared it an emergency. Everybody's dancing around it. I just want answers. And with that, I wish everybody a happy Easter. It's a very holy week, and it's a time of peace, and I hope you enjoy your holiday with your family.
Councilwoman.
Yes. I just quickly wanted to address Mr. Esom. I repeat my statements from earlier, but I do want to add that we do care. I think that's why we're all up here. But I'm not a fan of enabling. I think if we do so with the Board of Ed, the behavior has the potential to continue. And I know Ms. Siaka had stated that $750,000 is going to the charter. While I do understand and recognize that, we still are getting over $1 million. We're in a better spot than we were last year. And I just mentioned that because, again, that was the excuse that was given to us last year when we were having these same budget concerns. I 100% agree with you in regards to education for our children, and I'm with you. I'm happy to give every dollar in my bank account as long as it goes to the education and what our students want. And our students speak up. We have our EPIC groups that come in here, and I just have to add this in here. Our students spoke loud and clear in regards to that field, and it's in my opinion that the board closed their ears to that. So I just hope in the future that they continue to listen to our students. And Mr. Dennis Strand, the Columbus Park, unfortunately, it's not being used. I think I read somewhere that for the Babe Ruth this year, they only had 7 players total sign up this year. And it's unfortunate because I never played for the Babe Ruth, but my brother did. I went down there to countless games, and it was a great time for me growing up in the city. Good social things can be a part of that plan. This resolution was just to adopt a study. None of us have any idea what those plans would look like until we see what this study brings forth if it passes. I see that you mentioned our advertisement when we were running for our campaign in regards to a park in the First Ward. We stated about improving the Hobart Park, which has been much of a discussion. We talked about it at the last meeting. We moved forward with the resolution for funds for that dog park once that contamination area is fixed. And then we also have the Riverfront Phase 2 project, which we mentioned as well, which from my understanding is moving forward. So that's just addressing the 2 things that was in our campaign literature at that time. Tana, as Tom said, our lawyers are looking into how the GARF group is set up and recognized in our city. We want every organization to be treated the same. We don't want any special privileges. We have so many great organizations aside from GARF, like Garfield United, Unico, Meals with a Mission, and just some things were brought to our attention in with a lot of this conversation that we had no idea about. Our lawyers are looking into it. We are a new council. Some decisions were made in the past that we may not necessarily agree with, so we are just further looking into it. Contrary to what some may think, there is no hidden agenda. The Facebook conversation, I have no jurisdiction as to what's allowed on that Facebook page. You could say what you want about me, you're entitled to that, whether it's you or anyone else. I have nothing to hide. If you listen to my comments from the last meeting, it's on our city website. All I did was state that that the people that made some of these comments and allegations should be disgusted with themselves. I see some of whom are here at this meeting today, and I'm entitled to that opinion, just like you're entitled to post those opinions. I understand you say some are not GARF members. I'd assume the administrator is of that page, and while I'm not saying that they should, but they do have the authority to review, approve, delete, keep comments, and that's where I'm going to stay from there. As far as the complaints about our former ACO, they are there, and you can request them, like I said, multiple times from our city clerk's office. We had some events last week. It's Women's History Month, so we had our Women in Law Enforcement dinner that Assemblyman Wimberly put together, and we had some of our officers in the city of Garfield recognized. Police Officer Falari, who, when I was in the Junior Police Academy, was the only police officer that was female that we had in town here, so I was happy to see the addition of 2 more who were also recognized, Police Officer Lopez and Police Officer Schmidt. And we also had Senator Nellie Poe's annual Women's History event last Friday, where we had our very own Miss Yaka, who's here with us this evening, so congratulations again, and Sugar from the Boys and Girls Club that were recognized for their community service. So congratulations to those 2 women. Upcoming, we have our Fireman's Dinner this Friday, March 30th. We have our egg hunt, which was rescheduled this Saturday, March 31st at 10 a.m. And last but never least, Happy Easter, and I hope everyone enjoys their holiday. Thank you.
Deputy Mayor?
Quickly, Anthony, I agree with you wholeheartedly, partner. My dad had a catering business on MacArthur Ave, which is a residential area, for 60 years. And we never got a complaint because my father had respect for all our neighbors. And those trucks, we were loading up those trucks 2 o'clock in the morning, 1 o'clock in the morning. But the thing is, you got to have respect, and I feel bad for your tenants, but really it's the workers going into Fregali's, picking up bread. That isn't right. And you would hope that Mr. Fregali would speak to them. And he should. It's just common courtesy. You don't need a lawyer, you don't need a cop, you just need common courtesy, which it's a shame that a lot of people don't have. I feel for you, but I'm sure that we'll look into it and try to help you out the best we can. Mr. Esom, with the Board of Education, the members are elected, budgets are voted on. So there's nobody to blame except the voters themselves. Every single registered voter in the city could vote on a Board of Ed member, could vote on the budget. It's up to them to get involved. It's up to them to see where the money's being spent. Years ago, the Board of Ed members were appointed by the city council. Then you could come up and complain to us. And sometimes, I don't think that's a bad idea sometimes, but I don't want to take away don't get that out there. Geez, I'll be saying I want to put board members. But the thing is, they get elected. So it's up to the people to vote whoever they want in, whatever they want out. It goes with the budget also. We're lucky where our elections are still in April, where we're able to vote on the budget. And I was a proponent of moving them to November. But now I turned my views on that. I think having the election in April is good. So that people could vote on the budget and let them have a say. What else do I have here? It was mentioned about Columbus Field, and the person who runs the Babe Ruth isn't doing a great job. Well, I know Mr. Tanny. I coach with Mr. Tanny. And I'll tell you what, he's done a great job. You know how many years he's been coaching there? How many years he's been volunteering there? It's not his fault if the kids don't want to come out for baseball. How much can he do? You have sign-ups. Let the parents bring the kids down and sign them up for baseball. But Mr. Tanny he was the one who put the lights up. He's the one that drags that field every day. He's the one that put sod in the middle of the field. When I played ball...
So, let's send them down, and if they are...
And Midland Ave also.
All right, and Midland Ave. Because if they are putting it out, then let's ticket them too.
Will do.
Mr. Sunday?
11 o'clock in the morning.
11 o'clock in the morning?
11 o'clock in the morning from Tobacco Road. He now puts out 3 or 4 pails.
Tobacco
Couple
Road.
down this, yeah, see, that's what happens. And you know what? They're putting the pails out right next to the municipal pail. It's almost like a double insult. And they're there at 11 o'clock Sunday morning from Tobacco Road all the way to the train station.
And I guarantee you, Carol...
Who owns that property by the train tracks now?
Not the building, but the vacant lot, because that's filthy too.
The vacant lot across the street?
Yeah,
I don't know who owns it.
We should find that out too. Sorry to interrupt you,
Yeah.
I apologize.
And Carol, I can guarantee you that on Monroe Street, half those tenants, they're absentee landlords, and they're renters. And this is the image that, you know, when people portray, when they're coming off 21, and they're driving through Passaic, or they're driving into Garfield, you know, this is the stuff we don't need to see in Garfield. You know, it's the quality of life. And the ordinance that was passed, this garbage ordinance wasn't what me and Councilwoman put on the books. This ordinance was on the books for years, I believe. We're just enforcing it.
And then we changed it.
And we changed it down. You know, when we found out the 250, we're just changing it. You know, it's the quality of life in Garfield. Everybody sitting here has a right. Tony, you have the right to quality of life. You used the word. It's the right to quality of life. Your residents, your neighbors, your tenants, you know, they want to walk down the street. They don't want to see filth. They don't want to see, you know, graffiti, vandalism, empty lots. You know, they don't want to walk and see this beautiful field. You know, and it's just a big empty field, Columbus Field. It's just a big empty field sitting there, you know, with some trees and a well and a tank. And that's it. No one, people don't even, how many people here actually been in that field in the last year? One person. There you go. One person. No one's playing in it. There's not even a swing set. You know, and I know it's a touchy situation, but the field needs to be utilized. One way or the other, it's going to get utilized, either as a beautiful park or something else. With that said, you know, there is an Easter egg hunt in Century Field through the rec center. There's also one through the Garfield housing down off of Lanza Ave. I wish everybody a happy Easter and a healthy Easter. Meeting adjourned?
Well, Tom, if I just could make one quick comment. I just want to recognize that we were nominated by the state for an opportunity zone throughout the city.
The city of Garfield has 3 particular census tracts that have been designated as Opportunity Zone eligible. Census Tract 212, 215, and 216. Runs all along River Drive. Hopefully, it'll yield positive benefits for redevelopment all along River Road. We have to wait and see what the governor's plan, what kind of fruit it bears.
All right, thank you. Meeting adjourned.
Make a motion, I'll make a motion.
It was all dirt infield. And back then, we had hundreds of kids playing, and the field was all dirt. We improved the field tremendously, but right now, we just don't have the kids coming out. It is what it is. I don't know why. I can't tell you why. They're going to other sports, whether it be lacrosse, soccer. It's, you know, and Garfield's just not baseball. That's just the way it is. And I like our taxes low. That's why we're able to come in with an under $50 tax increase. And the main reason why that is because of redevelopment. We have projects, there's the project on River Drive that's paying a humongous amount of taxes, property taxes, to our city right now. That's the only reason why we're able to keep it low. You know, because of all the redevelopment. We have a place on Walnut Street right now with units that next year should be on the tax rolls. Am I correct, Tom?
Yes.
And I believe the taxes that we might get out of there is close to $500,000. And for 10 years, that was opposed by certain council members up on this council. But you know what? What happened was we had a contaminated piece of property that was there due to the old factory Rentex. That person came in, cleaned it all out by state standards, and now will be a viable use to the city. And it's a shame that it took 10 years. But because of certain reasons, it did. I'm glad to see it be on the tax rolls next year, which will help our taxes hopefully be lower. You know, what else do I have? You know, with regards to the Garf, there's nobody up here against Garf. There's nobody, I believe, in the city that is against any volunteer organization. You don't go against volunteers. That's just the way it is. But last meeting, when I read some of the posts about any individual, whether it be my daughter, whether it be any elected official, I'm saying to myself, and by Pete Franco, who was your spokesperson here a few months ago, he was, excuse me, Mayor, I'm speaking, I gave you respect. He came and you told him to speak on your behalf. I was sitting right here. He came, you told him to speak. All right? So, but he did speak, and you know, the post, are we gonna open up the city to lawsuits for defamation of character? I don't know, but I gotta watch out for the city first and the 36,000 people before anything. That's what I got elected for, to make sure that we don't get sued, to make sure that nothing negative happens, and that's what it is. And with regards to everything else, I was shopping in Price right here. I believe I was in aisle 4, and a concerned citizen came up to me who belongs to another organization in town and asked, why does Garf get this and that and this and that, and his organization doesn't? And I had no answer for him. I had no answer for him. All right, so with that's why I think we should look into certain things, because it's only fair to the other organizations. It's not fair to just give one organization something and nothing to the other one. So what's good for one is good for all. That's all I'm saying. And if you do get a chance, Mayor, my neighbor is still complaining about the cat feces in his backyard. I know you said it was raccoon, but I tend to believe it's not.
Joe, where the cats are?
All right, but I'm just saying he still complains about the cat feces, and I told him that you told me it was raccoon, and he didn't like that answer. I don't know why he didn't like it, you know, but he didn't like that answer. So if we can do that, I definitely appreciate it. With regard to, we spoke about the transfer station, Tom, Drew, you're probably better off at that. When was this transfer station put in?
Don't know.
Approximately, okay, I want you to look into this.
1970s?
I want you to look into this. I want to know who the elected officials were that were on the council that voted for this, because right now, we're getting blamed big time for this, you know, and I know, well, Drew could check it out, but I would like to know who the elected officials were that voted for this transfer station. Who had the ideals back then to think that there was a good place for a transfer station? All right? With that, we spoke about the education system, and I'm all for education. Education is the most important thing that any town, city can offer to their residents. Most important. Our job up here is for protection, but the education is what brings up your house value, what brings up the kids. I tell you, and we got great kids in Garfield. 2 weeks ago, they walked to remember the 17 kids that passed away in Parkland. And they put out 17 chairs. And I'm telling you, you want to be touched? I know they were called activists by some people, but they weren't activists. They were students just doing the right thing. You know, they're students with great ideals, with an ideal for the future. And how can we not respect that? I'm told that we sent the bus down to Washington, D.C. for a March of Our Lives. That's fantastic. That's fantastic. These are our kids. And if you heard the students speak before they went out to march, you wouldn't believe the words. I actually choked up to hear these students speak. They did. So I give the students of Garfield High School, I give the staff, the administration so much credit for that. And anybody who passed Palisade Ave and Outwater Lane that day to see those 17 chairs, it was amazing. And one other thing, we have a certain person here sitting up on the council who's been recognized Sunday past Sunday by Assemblyman Benji Wimberly for Hats for Hope. You know, and that's all we have sometimes is hope. You know, and my daughter was recognized by Benji Wimberly for her work. This Thursday night at the Royal Manor, your councilwoman, Miss Eleanor Delaney, is being recognized by Shavonda Sumter from the recommendation from our Attorney General for her work with opioid abuse. That's the kind of people you have here in the city of Garfield. It's not just about garbage and this, which is all important, but we have so many other good things happening too. We have an elected official sitting right here being recognized by our Assemblywoman through the Attorney General through her work with opioid abuse. That's big. That's important. Have yourself a happy Easter.
All right, thank you, Tim.
Oh, if anybody wants tickets, I still got tickets for Thursday night dinner.
Well, Deputy Mayor, you were talking about our students the Garfield Middle School students, they put on a little video tribute to Parkland, and that was something to see. Seeing 11 and 12-year-olds do a tribute to those students down in Florida was something else. But also, I want to thank the Garfield PD and our school security. This past weekend, on Sunday, there was a report. A student wanted to come to school, do some harm. On Monday, our Garfield PD, the school security, our administration, they acted swiftly, they took it serious. They were out in force, and the parents are thankful, I'm thankful, and our school was safe. And the report was just false, but that student is being disciplined severely through with the law. The Babe Ruth, Joe, the reason baseball is not happening in Garfield is because everybody's on traveling teams now. So instead of playing in, Babe Ruth is dying in New Jersey. It's traveling teams. Everybody's going on traveling teams because you get recognized on the traveling teams. So parents are taking their kids to wherever traveling teams they go. It's the better competition, and that's why, Councilwoman, you're right. Right now, from what I understood, as of Monday, there was no Babe Ruth team right now. So, the field is not being used, and that will lead me into the redevelopment. It's just a study for redevelopment right now. So if it does pass the city council, we're just going to adopt a study to see if it could be, if it's feasible. But nothing's going to happen unless Green Acres gets involved. So if they take 3 acres, you're going to need to find 12 acres. And Councilman, like you said, you can't make land. So if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. If you can't find 12 acres and Green Acres doesn't allow it, it's still going to be a field. But that field is not being used. We had so many events going on in Garfield this past year. The Boys Club doesn't use it, the rec doesn't use it, the library doesn't use it, Babe Ruth doesn't use it, Little League doesn't use it, soccer doesn't use it, no one uses it. There may be 12 or 13 games, and now they're going to come from other towns to rent it out. So, I ran on redevelopment, I stand on redevelopment. The town hasn't changed in 50 years. It needs to change. There needs to be a vision. I don't know what Columbus Field's vision is, but you know what? There needs to be something. We need to move forward in Garfield, or else we're just going to get swallowed up. That field, unfortunately, is a viable piece of property. And if it never gets developed, hopefully we could turn it into a usable park. Maybe we could take 1 acre and do something with it. But, I'm looking for redevelopment in Garfield, from Passaic Street to Lanza Ave, to Outwater Lane, to River Road. I'm looking for redevelopment because, that's the only way our town is going to move forward. We're in Bergen County, we're in North Jersey, and, it's a shame that these other towns are developing all around. And I think, Carol, you were talking about some of these renters that come in and these absentee landlords, and they're not looking into who they're renting out their homes, and their homes are being wrecked, and they're putting out the garbage. And then you're driving down River Road, and you see this beautiful Wawa, beautiful park, and then, right down the road, you see all trash. It's not a good image. It's not a good image. We need to change our image in Garfield. I'm confident in the Board of Ed. I'm confident in the Board of Ed and our school administration. No one's happy with this tax increase, and I think they're going to look hard into it. They're going to look real hard and hopefully figure it out and move forward. That's what I want to say on that. Congratulations to Ms. Siaka for history, Women on History by Nellie Pope. Congratulations. Congratulations, Councilwoman Delaney.
Thank you.
Tom, on Sunday, can we call up the police to go down Monroe Street on a Sunday?
Absolutely.
Second time, Councilman, a lawyer talked about the garbage.